before we get you out of here, and that is obviously Jon Jones. I think everybody is familiar with what's going on. We still have to wait a little bit, when it comes to, Jones is claiming innocence, and he's going to, it sounds like appeal this and get his B sample tested, all of that stuff. But your initial thoughts on this news that broke yesterday?
I was very surprised. I knew that Jon was using. I just lived that life too long myself. If a guy takes a T-shirt off, I can take one look at him. I called the Junior before it broke. I called the Jon before it broke. However, when I say I was surprised, I just assumed coming off the suspension, having the money he's got and the connections he's got, brothers in the NFL, what have you, I thought, well, he must have found a way to manipulate the test. He must have found something that isn't on the ban list yet. I never thought it would have been a dirty, rotten steroid. You have to understand there's banned substances, and then there's illegal substances. That steroid he's found with is a Class C felony. They would put you in handcuffs for that. It is against the law to be in possession of. So that did stun me a little bit. And I can also tell you from having lived that life, you only have to answer for the things you're caught for, but you never caught for everything you did. So, he got away with a number of things, I would suspect, but he's going down on Tremable. And so, I mean, it is what it is. It's Jon Jones. And the cover-up is always worse than the crime. Right now, he needs to go into PR mode. He needs to choose one of two strategies. One, bury your head and say nothing ever. It worked for Brock Lesnar. He just went through it. He's still on a suspension, and he main evented a pay-per-view on Sunday night. So that's one strategy. The other is come as clean as you can, as quickly as you can. Here's what I did. Here's why I did it. That is not going to happen when you're dealing with a sociopath that's going to hold the Bible up above his head and claim, silly me, and I don't know how this happened. You're not going to get that, and he's going to end up just like he has every other time. He's just going to end up elongating this. It'll go away. It'll blow over. People are starting to get numb to it when it's Jon Jones. They just start to, oh, yeah, I'm sure he did, and they just kind of move on with their day. But he could get through it a little quicker if he either went silent or he fessed up.
Based on what you said about Turinabol, does it, and it seems like you're very crystal clear on what you think happened with Jon Jones, but because it's not a substance that you would anticipate him using, especially with the resources that he has available to him, does that make you think even just slightly that him saying, I don't know how this got in my system, is there any wonderment about you that, well, maybe?
No, on a guy's third strike, no, definitely not. And again, I could take one look at him, and I could just throw the fans back as recently as his OSP fight to his Daniel Cormier fight. His body changed significantly. And one thing with the human body is we don't get better with time. So if your body all of a sudden looks better than it used to when you're weighing in at the same weight class as you used to, you've got some explaining to do. And you can fool a lot of the public by saying I went on a new diet and a new exercise program, but when you're training for world title fights, you're dieting your exercises to the top of your ability. So it's same, except the guy's a year older. It doesn't take a rocket scientist, but it would take somebody in the know. And again, I'm an expert on this topic for all of the wrong reasons, but an expert nonetheless. And no, the fact that it was such a lowbrow steroid, I mean, this was still some good stuff. I would put it at probably number 8 on the list of things you could do, but I would put what Anderson Silva popped for at about a number 11 on the list. I mean, there was better stuff. It just strengthens my previous point of what didn't they catch? How many things did get through the system because he's found different ways to do it? That would be my speculation, but I must admit to you it's just that. I know that I'm right. I'm just protecting myself legally, and I'm letting you know I'm speculating, even though I'm not.
Last question on this. Why? Is it as simple as, and that might sound like an obvious question, there's an obvious answer to it, because performance-enhancing drugs, listen to what they're called, performance enhancing. They do great things for you. So that's why you take them. But with Jon Jones, everything on the line, everything that he had been through, him coming out and being so anti-performance enhancing drugs, if he did cheat, as you suspect he did, as you were speculating that he has done so, well, is it just as simple?
Confirmed. I think a better way to say it is the test, the one before it and one before that, confirmed. But yes, I will speak to what the test said. But go ahead.
Why? Is it just as simple as he didn't think he could beat Daniel Cormier without it? Is it lack of confidence? Is it the rigors
I think it's a little bit of both. Yeah, old habits. Basically, the psychology of it, as flawed as this is, the basic psychology is somebody grabs a hold of you and says, "Hey, this isn't going to show up," and it's really just as simple as that. You bite down one time, you take that guy's advice, and you pass a test. And John passed 4 or 5 of them, and he's going, "Okay, I've discovered something they can't catch," and all of a sudden, what he miscalculated is the science changes, and it can change as quick as daily without any kind of a press release or notification. Things can, go undetected for years, and all of a sudden one Wednesday morning at 9 a.m., a scientist figures out a new way, and they start implementing it. So these guys get jammed up in that all the time, and then love to go, but wait a minute, I wouldn't have taken it this late, and if it didn't show up here, here, and here, and it's like, no, it wasn't tested the same way. They're not armed with enough information because they're not very smart. They're not very smart in the first place. So, yeah, I mean, that's what happened. But you're not going to get clomiphene in a tainted substance, and I know they tried to rule that the last time, but that was as crooked as could be. Clomiphene is so I used to take clomiphene. It's extremely expensive. Nobody's putting that in an over-the-counter sex pill or whatever John had claimed. And now you've got this one, Tremable. This is another expensive one. It's a Class C felony. Nobody's smuggling this in and putting this into substances. I mean, it's beyond absurd. It was taken intentionally, I believe.
Thank you for your insight, your perspective, Chael. Look forward to seeing you the rest of the week.
You can't get that anywhere else, Brett. No, you can't get what I just gave you anywhere else. All of that was brilliant. I'm so impressed with myself right now, as I'm sure you are. I'll see you tomorrow. Kaboom. That's
why we came to you. Can't wait to watch the ratings soar on this episode. There he is, Chael Sonnen. Always fun to work with Chael. Fun to have him on the podcast, and it's been fun to work alongside him with this major fight. All right, we're going to take a quick break. We're going to be back on the second end with our second guest of the week. He is Dan Hardy, who is also out here analyzing this fight for Sky Sports. Stay tuned.
Now, the guest of the week.
All right, one more quick thank you to our first guest, Chael Sonnen, and we are moving right along to our second guest of the week, Dan Hardy, who is actually in town in Las Vegas to work as an analyst for Sky Sports for the big fight on Saturday, Floyd Mayweather versus Conor McGregor. Dan, how are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm great, man. We are taping this on a Wednesday evening, and you and I were both at the Mayweather-McGregor press conference today, and I wanted to start there. One thing, and I heard this through the grapevine, Dan, I didn't see it myself, but were you causing trouble over there? Did security have to come in and kick you out of the place at the end of this?
No. I was basically, there was an Irish newspaper that I was speaking to, and I was answering a few questions, and as everybody else, there were a few people in the room, and this guy just came up and, as well as telling me that we had to move on, he started to shove me, which, I wasn't impressed with. So I turned around and asked him why he was being so rude, and then, we just had words. It was security guard, feeling like he's in control of the world.
Yeah, every now and then you run into security members like that. It seems to be an international thing, whether in the U.S. or anywhere else. If you can always kind of draw the wrong security guard. That no nonsense is what I like to call him.
Yeah, well, I'm the tattooed guy, so I'm always trouble causing.
Yeah. I mean, they're going to stereotype you one way or another on that one. So let's talk about this press conference first, because I got to say I've been doing hits for SportsCenter all week, and I was saying that you guys got to watch the press conference. If you're interested in this fight, hey, even if you're not interested in this fight, watch the press conference, because maybe you will become interested in it, or you'll become even more interested in it, because these two guys are so dynamic and they're so interesting to listen to that the press conference should be a really great time. I left that press conference maybe feeling like I had lied to people about telling them to watch this press conference. What did you make of the whole thing?
Yeah, it was kind of weird. I mean, it was such a big auditorium, and obviously there was a lot of media in there, but there were so many empty seats, and there were fans outside, and it would have been nice to have a little bit of atmosphere in there. And then the other thing, both fighters were a little flat, and obviously Conor is cutting weight. We all know that he cuts weight. He'll be making 154 on Friday, so he's probably water loading at the moment, but cutting calories. So he's going to be a little bit low, and he's going to be a little bit reserved, but. He was brief, but he said what he needed to. But Floyd seemed tired. It seemed like his voice didn't seem strong. I don't know whether he's overtraining maybe, or whether he's not getting enough rest. But he didn't seem himself. And that coupled with the kind of emptiness of the room, it was a bit of a strange one. Yeah,
it was a little bit of a strange one. I don't know how much it went towards. towards selling the fight, you said that that Conor said what he needed to say. What did you mean by that? That he just got up and addressed sort of the media, or did you mean something specific that he said that you felt like, oh yeah, that was good that he got that in? Or I mean, I guess what did you take of his comments and Floyd's?
No, just that he was brief and confident. He was going to be. He's not going to be as animated at this point in the week. He's probably at this point quite impatient, to be honest, because all the hard work's done. There's no more preparation really that needs doing. It's just counting down the hours to the weigh-in and then focusing on the fight. And I'm sure he's impatient and ready to get in there.